By policy, no. By practice, yes.
There you go. That's good. By policy, we are not exclusive, but by practice, we are.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Happy Monday! Yay!
Monday!
Welcome to episode 69. Today, actually, we're Finn and Emma, and today, special bonus episode for ya. We have a discussion with Shawn and Jess, and you may remember them from episode 34.
If you don't, you should probably go back and listen to episode 34. This one will make a little more sense, but even if you don't, this one is still full of some really awesome conversations about having friends in the lifestyle, and honestly, we basically get to listen to them process their transition in the lifestyle, like in real time. So yeah. It's a pretty awesome conversation. So thank you to both of them for coming back on.
Yes. And they refer a lot to another couple whose names are Ken and Kate. And
hey, we should have them on like Wednesday or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, stay tuned for Wednesday because you'll hear more of Ken and Kate's side of the story.
Yeah, so you hear Ken and Kate on Wednesday, and then in a first ever, other than the first week, ever
Friday bonus episode.
Whoa, okay. You need to get a little more sleep at night.
I know.
But yeah, we've got a Friday episode where we get all four of them together to chat for a little bit, and that one is kind of out of control. The whole point was to do
That's why it's on a Friday.
Yeah, it's just kind of a fun thing, and we thought, well, hey, we're going into a holiday weekend here in the US of A. Holiday week.
Yeah, I was saying not quite.
The next week is a holiday week. Everyone's going to be driving places, so you'll have plenty of listening goodness for your ear holes.
Yep. Okay.
Anywho.
So, exciting week ahead. First one today, Shawn and Jess. Listen in, and if you didn't listen to episode 34, go back and check that one out. Okay, moving on.
One thing we did want to remind people, we mentioned this a long time ago, but we thought it might be worth saying again. If you're curious what some of our guests look like, check out the show notes on our website, because some of them, a lot of them, send us photos of themselves that they let us put on there. So
yes,
go check them out. And while you're there, look at the resources page. There's a couple of awesome resources that we use. One that we wanted to mention, we mentioned this one a couple weeks ago for the first time. It's freestdcheck.org. Obviously, they're not paying us to do this. They're a free STD testing site, but we wanted to make it known that there are some places out there to get tested for free. And if you've used one or if you know of any, send them our way. We'd love to hear them. But check this one out. It's definitely a good option.
Yes, for sure. And the other one that we have on our site is stdcheck.com. And that one, you pay for your testing, you get a full panel, and you can use the links on our page for $10 off.
And we used it just a couple weeks ago, and I was just going to quickly note two of my favorite parts about it. One, we got our test results in like 2 days. You can pay to get them in 1 day for like an extra $20.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's just super easy. We had to switch locations because one location was super busy. We were able to go online and switch it and go to the other location like
very easily.
Yeah, it took like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out. And also, if you have a different service that you use, let us know so we can promote those as well for people, just to give as many options as we can.
Or if you have a story of using one of these resources, can you please email us and let us know, or leave us a voicemail? We'd love to hear how it's going out there and how people are liking these services. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's everything.
Let's go listen to Shawn and Jess then.
Let's do that.
Wow, you are really
let's do that.
Monotone today.
Let's do that. Let's go do it.
Okay.
Returning veterans. Yeah.
Apparently.
Shawn and Jess, episode 34 veterans. So that was 30 plus episodes ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So we've been rocking it, and you've been having some developments on your end, huh? Well, welcome back.
It's been a big change, yes.
Yeah. So maybe really quick for somebody who hasn't listened to episode 34, which I don't know why they wouldn't, but
maybe a quick overview of who you are and a quick rundown of
why we talked to you 30 episodes ago.
I'm not saying anything that's going around.
Oh, I'm Jessica. If you did listen to episode 34, you probably didn't hear me talk very much because Shawn talked the whole time. And you are?
You got to talk a little bit.
All right, so I'm Shawn. I'm 39 now, which I've grown in a year since last time. Yeah.
Is that your age?
Well, we said we were 38 last time because we played the guessing game.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I'm 39. We've been in lifestyle for about 2 years now, just over. Last time we talked, we were still newbies. Yeah. It felt like it.
I think we just first full swapped.
We'd had a few experiences, but yeah, we'd had a couple of good weekends in a row, and we're kind of giddy when we were talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I remember being a little envious, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
we had a good month or so.
Yeah. Well, and since then, so to take us back a little bit, you were very much in the boat of, we're doing this just her and me. If somebody gets feelings, that's the end of it. We don't want any of that business up in here.
You're doing kind of the traditional swinging, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, Halloween happened.
I don't even know. So we still had a few months between July or August when we did our interview, and then we had a couple club experiences. We had the pool party.
We had
the friction pool party.
The boat, what was that called? The boat extravaganza thing
with a bunch of swingers. So just we met a bunch of cool people that summer that we stayed in touch with, and we hung out with a bunch. We had went to the club a few times. We hung out and had parties with a bunch of people. So we just kept progressing and getting more and more comfortable with stuff.
And you were also making friends this whole time, right? Because that was something else you talked a lot about last time, was how many friends you were actually making in this. And it wasn't just like, hey, we're here to have sex and then we'll see you later, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, we made some really good friends along the way. Yeah.
But then Halloween happened. Well, first, before Halloween happened, we apparently kept getting some friction messages that we didn't reply to quick enough. So when Halloween happened and we ran into Kate and Ken there, they were apparently very excited to see us.
Because they had seen you online.
Right.
And you hadn't replied.
Right.
We responded, but it was very at that point. So when we talked to you guys, we had done the kick messaging for months on end, and it didn't really go anywhere. It's just, you talk and then dates fall
with other couples. Yeah.
Right.
So, when we had done the interview with you guys, or when we met you guys, it was more along the lines of okay, now we're just going to go to the club. We're not going to answer people, or we'll politely answer, but we're not going to make a big deal of talking online or setting anything up, because when we go to the club or party, we want to just go and meet people.
And meeting people in person so much different than meeting them. You meet people online, it's I may decide I'm not really feeling it, but then I meet them in person and I'm like, oh my God, you're really cool,
Yeah.
So
it's totally different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
And that whole summer, right as we met you, we were on cloud nine because we had a bunch of experiences at the club where we met a bunch of cool people we still keep in touch with, and have a really good relationship with.
So when they contacted us online, we were like,
nice to meet you. Talk to you later.
Yeah, if we run into you, we run into you. Cool.
Didn't think anything of it.
Right.
Right, because that's what you had done with other couples, and it was just kind of the way you were progressing.
Right.
And then we ran into them, I don't know, halfway through the night.
Yeah, and he goes, babe, there's a foxy fox. We gotta talk to them.
So they spotted you in the club, and then they pounced.
It was a hotel takeover. Yeah, okay. We were walking down the hall, and they spotted us walking towards them down the hall.
And then he grabbed Jess and was talking, and I ran into him, started talking to him, and he was actually like really cool, like just a good conversation. Like, oh, like I want to hang out and talk to these people. There was a lot going on, so I'm not sure on like exactly when things happened, but
it's all logistics at that point.
At some point,
the point was that you hit it off, right?
Right. Yeah.
And at some point, I met Caitlin, and we were all talking. So to give you a backdrop, Jess and I went as a foxy fox couple.
We were foxes.
Jess is walking around with a fox tail butt plug in. I've got like this, like a suit on and like this little fox ears. The fox ears looked so stupid. But I felt like such a nerd. I'm like I'm going along with it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be a fox, I guess, whatever. So as I'm talking to Caitlin, we're hitting it off, and the whole time I'm trying to be smooth. Like I'm trying to like, okay, she's really cool.
She's pretty,
and I like her, and like I want to take these off, and so I'm like trying to be smooth. She catches me in the middle of it.
But they kept flopping the whole time. He's like, they would like flop.
Yeah, and she told me, she saw it and called me out. And then at some point she asked if I was a good kisser, and then asked Jess if she could kiss me.
She asked Kenny to ask me. Yeah. And I said, maybe you should find out. And
so you know when you hit it off with people, like when you're swinging, and it's like, okay, well, there's like one aspect of like, okay, well, they're really cool people. I want to like hang out with them again or talk to them or make this happen and progress to something else. She kissed me, and it was a great kiss, amazing kiss. But afterwards, she pulled back. She went, because I'm a ginger. She goes, "Did you just steal my soul?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this woman's amazing!" Like immediately,
he immediately ran up to me and he's like, "You're never gonna believe what she just said. She just asked me if I stole her soul."
So we've never, not once ever, in the club or parties or anything else, like we've never pursued anybody.
Right.
We'll talk to people, and if it's things are going great and we're having fun, that's fine. If they want to go do something else, that's fine. We don't go after people at all. That was the first and only time that we looked for them over and over again. We said goodbye to them for a second to go talk to our other friends, and then we spend
the whole night,
couple hours looking for them.
Yeah.
So.
And did you find them?
No, we did not. But we messaged them the next day. And we've pretty much been messaging them every day since then, from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed.
Yes.
So it's progressed. And are you still going to clubs? I guess, what does it look like today?
So we've been, like I was saying earlier, a lot of our friends are lifestyle, like just our friends are lifestyle. So we've gone to the club.
For a birthday party.
We went for a birthday party, like a sweeter club for a birthday party.
We've gone to the club with them one time.
We went with Kate Ken.
Right.
So we've been, but it's not to go hook up.
No. Mm-hmm. We went for our friend's birthday party and we ended up leaving really early.
Just going to have fun, be sexy, dance, but nothing.
But since we've met them, we haven't pursued any like messages that we get on any website or any, when we go to the club or anything. Yeah. And it's been just them since then.
And it didn't start, like, it wasn't an immediate thing. It was just kind of like a progression of like, I mean, we would still go to the club now to see our friends, but
Absolutely.
we haven't felt like we've been wanting for anything else, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, so you've become essentially exclusive, the four of you.
Yes.
But
I don't know why the word exclusive is like.
Well, because we'll cover that.
We'll have to cover that when we talk with all of us, because that's your whole thing.
By policy, no. By practice, yes.
There you go. That's good. By policy, we are not exclusive, but by practice, we are.
Okay. So you haven't, since you've met them, you haven't hooked up with anybody else?
No.
And I guess how long did it take to get to that point where you were like, yeah, we're
because you searched for them all night, didn't find them, and then you started messaging them right after the Halloween party. And how'd that go?
I think the first time we saw them after the Halloween party was like 2 weeks.
No, it was just a week.
A week? The next weekend.
So we met up with them nearby,
and we had a wonderful night.
So we like we said, we started messaging. First, it was me and Ken, kind of just dudes talking back and forth, like getting comfortable with each other. And then the girls came in pretty quickly as in the 4-way chat, and it was an immediate, like, just things felt amazing. Like, just talking to them, like, felt like we had met long lost friends. And as we started talking and like learning about each other, we found out that Kate and Jess are
just
separated at birth. Like, everything that they're like, oh, I like this, or like, oh, I like ketchup on my waffles, like whatever ridiculous thing. Like, it was like just so ridiculous. Like no one would ever have that in common, and they're like, yeah, we totally both do that. So
we're very much alike.
It was
very much
immediately, like, just felt comfortable. Felt like we're texting long lost friends. And
he was very respectful in the beginning too. Like, if Shawn had to go to work and he couldn't check his phone or whatever, like, he would exit from the chat and just let me and her chat until Shawn came back into the chat. So that was kind of a big deal too. Like, that didn't last very long though.
Yeah, well, how long did it take you, the four of you, to sort of progress? And I guess maybe what were some of the conversations between the two of you? Because you went into this thinking, no way, never gonna have feelings for people, to, what do we got here, right? So I guess, how did those conversations go?
So
this is a tough one.
Yeah, it's a little tough to nail down because it
was a little crazy.
It was ongoing, a little crazy, in the best possible way.
Right.
We almost, talking back, like, when we talk now and we talk about our past times together, almost immediately from the first hangout, even though we didn't know it then, we were having feels. We didn't know what that meant. And Jess and I mentioned in the last podcast, like, our ideal situation is like friends with benefits. So
they didn't even know what that meant at the time. Like, what is friends with benefits?
Well, we've got friends that we consider, very, very close friends that we love. And that's a different type of love.
Mm-hmm.
As this was kind of building over, I'd say probably a month maybe or so, because I left, and then that's when it first kind of came out.
Right, when you first left is when it first came out.
So I
want to tell that story.
As this month is going by, and as friends texting, we would have moments where we'd be like, okay, you guys are really amazing. Here's kind of how I feel. And like, I would text like this very long text of like, we've got this thing with you guys that's pretty amazing. You guys are like long lost friends, like very like just deep and intimate,
Mm-hmm.
And then every one of us would chime in, and it was definitely building a relationship before we even knew we were building a relationship. The whole time, again, this is over a couple weeks, the whole time as Jess and I are talking, we're trying to figure out how we feel about this. And at first it was like, okay, well, this is obviously close friends that we're building. These are people we care about. So maybe this is just how friends with benefits, with friends that are like our other friends that we love, is how it goes, and when you're also having sex with them. And that's kind of how we thought things were progressing.
Right,
like
let's just hang out with them multiple times. They're our friends. Let's have cookouts, have normal hangouts, but then have sex with them.
But the feeling, like we both said it a few times, where it was more than that. But
but that was not what we were looking for in the beginning.
I know, but the way that we were, like, as we were talking about this and kind of like figuring out, like, hey, I kind of feel a certain way. Like, I have the feels. Like, and that's how we put it. Like, we have the feels for these people. Yeah. We don't know what it is, but we have the feels.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a point that I still remember where we were driving in the car and going to the store. And at one point we're talking about like, hey, is this friends with benefits? Like, is this how things feel when you're close with people and you have that friends with benefit thing? And both of us said, no, this is something deeper. This is something bigger. And we've been on the same page. Like, every time we talk about it, we've always been on the same page of like, are you feeling this way? And like, yes, I'm feeling the exact same way you're feeling, and to the point where we're finishing each other's sentences of like, I think, and then Jess would say the exact same thing I would say.
And it didn't really come into like play with all four of us, even though like Shawn and I were getting the feels on the side, and maybe they were getting the feels on the side, and we were all talking about, you know, just being friends with benefits and how much we like each other and how much we enjoy hanging out with each other. It didn't really like start to get real until Shawn was deployed, and they wanted to come down and hang out with just me. And Shawn said that was totally fine, and it was going to be just me and her hangout.
Mm-hmm.
But then Kenny actually hung out with us as well. And during that hangout, he made a comment to me. I said, how are you going to feel about this whole thing in a month or whatever? And he's like, I'll probably love you in a month. And at that time, like hanging out,
Kenny said that.
Yeah, he said that to me. He was very respectful the whole time we were there. He just sat and hung out with us girls, and me and Kate had our fun. And I didn't really put two and two together until the next day when he brought it up again and said, hey, do you remember what I said last night? And I'm like, wait, what did you say? And then he said it again. And I think at that point, everybody was like, did he just say the L word?
You're glossing over a whole important thing.
Wait, what am I glossing over?
Do you don't remember the conversation we had last time we talked to these guys? Where we were saying like, oh, there was this thing where I was gone for work and it'd be super hot if Jess went over there and
right.
with them. And we're like, oh, it didn't happen, guys. And then come to like now you just glossed over that whole thing.
Oh, I guess. Yes, I did.
So that's how comfortable we were with them. I'm like, I was gone on work, and I said, and for me, I was like, because they have a relationship and they're in love too, and
me and her, right?
Yeah, like Kate. Yeah, you and Kate, like they have a romantic relationship. So it was, as well as a friend, like just a huge friendship, like long lost sisters or whatever you want to put it. So I wanted initially like, hey, I'm not there. Have her come over and you guys go hang out, go do something. And Kenny was going to come down, just kind of like, I mean, like
he was going to sit in the car,
like a good husband would.
He's going to drive her down and then sit in the car while her and I,
like a good husband, make sure that you're not going to murder her and bury her in the backyard.
I'm 5 foot even. Who am I murdering? Okay?
At least give him the Wi-Fi code so he can watch some YouTube or something.
I know.
All right.
So I'm sitting up there, like I'm sitting, 3 hours away, and like I know he's like I know he's driving up there, and I know how I feel about Kate. Like I don't think I love her at that point, but I know that I really, really like enjoy her company, and like I really have feelings for her. And I know if I was in that situation, like I would want to see her too. Like so.
Well, and I really wanted him to be involved.
Yeah. So it was like I was like, dude, just go hang out, like go make out, go whatever. I don't care. And then that progressed into like, dude, if you guys want to play, like I really just don't give a shit.
But he
like,
wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he still won't today.
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that night, so they ended up going. The three of them hung out. They went to a hotel. The girls were tipsy and like laughing and having a good time. So the whole time, Ken's sending me like videos and pictures and just like laughing, and we're all joking. And then it was like the first time that Kate had called me on the phone. Now I've got to be up at 4 a.m. for work. It's like I'm bouncing off the walls, like nervous, excited. I stayed up till like almost 3, and just excited to hear what's going on. Also want like jealous that I'm not there, not in a bad way, but just because I want to be part of the fun and everything else. And
that was the first time you ever talked to Caitlin on the phone. That's the first time she ever heard your voice.
Well,
like on the phone though.
So
right.
she called me and we talked for like 45
it was a long
minutes,
time,
and it felt like 5.
Me and Kenny just made out.
Yeah. So and that was it. That was their night, and then they went on their merry way, and that was kind of the first night that there was the talk of the L word.
Wait, but then what happened after that? When we went to their house that Tuesday.
Well, we'll talk about that. That's
really? This is the whole thing, though.
I think you got to tell it now.
We kind of got to tell the Tuesday.
Okay. So
you have to tell the Tuesday.
So after that night, after that night, the next day I heard about the fact that he's like said, in a month I'll love you. And Jess and I were talking on the phone, like she's like, how do you feel about that? I'm like, I don't know, like I don't feel bad about it, like I'm kind of okay about it, I guess, like as long as we're on the same page. And at one point sorry, take my glass. At one point, we were all talking about it, and I think Ken brought it up in text again. I think what was said that when I pulled over on the side of the road, like where I had to pull over, or was that when you told me?
I told you what?
That he said he loved you, or would love you.
No. Oh, right. When that's when the original, when he said like what he told me in the hotel room.
No, because we talked to Kate about that too, like immediately afterwards. Anyway, sorry, I have no idea. There was a conversation that was.
Is this a hot mess or what?
It's okay.
It's all good.
We'll make it work.
There was a conversation that was had with the four of us, either the next day or a few days later, where it was brought up and it was put out in the open that the whole L word was kind of like thrown around. And I literally had to like pull over on the side of the road, and I called Jess. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she's like, dude, Ken said this to me. I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that? And I'm like,
but he didn't tell me he loved me. He just said, I'm like, how are you going to feel in a month from now?
But you still bring up the love word. Like,
I know.
You don't do that.
You don't say the L word in the swinging word world.
I know.
So yeah, it was a little strange.
And then I specifically remember I got to the grocery store after that, and like I said, I'm still by myself walking around, and we're all texting and talking about it. And Caitlin brought it up, and she was even like, how do you feel about that? And then I was like, good, I guess. And that's when I think when her catchphrase came out, it was like,
let's get weird. That's our catchphrase. That's what you should name this podcast. Let's get weird.
Yeah. So that was the first conversation of it, but it took probably until.
Even after that, there was a lot of trial and error between like how this is supposed to work, because this isn't. The whole thing was like this isn't what the lifestyle's about, and it's not right, and it's not why we got into the lifestyle. So falling for another couple, but then having those jealousy feelings of. Okay, you guys are going out on a date tonight and I'm feeling jealous about it, but I shouldn't feel jealous because we're all in the lifestyle and this is what the lifestyle is about. It's about going out and meeting other couples. So I think that's where the exclusive thing comes out, like why we're not exclusive, because it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not what we started.
It's not what we started out for. It's not fair for me and Shawn to say, you guys can't go out and play with another couple because you guys don't belong to us. Right. You know what I mean? So I think that over time that has just kind of, I don't know, for you and I, it's kind of just. So
what I would say is from the get-go, Jess and I were on the same page, even after that night and talking about it the next day. And then talking as a group of four of us, I kind of I knew I'm kind of a hard ass. Like I don't like feelings. I don't like emotions generally.
And neither does Kenny.
Yeah. So we're like two peas in a pod, and like, it's very hard to break down that wall, and it took Jess years and years and years to break down that wall. And I'd kind of shut that part of myself away of like, okay, well, Jess is my wife. Like, I'm not, and Kenny said the same thing. Like, we're not opening that part of our life anymore. So all of a sudden this whole new relationship's not thrown on us, but this whole new relationship has presented itself. And I kind of knew how rare it was. So after that kind of point of us realizing like, okay, this is more than just like friends and hanging out, let down my walls on purpose of like, hey, okay, I'm all in. I'm all in for this. Like, here's my heart. Do go with it. Mm-hmm. And I think Jess, me, and Caitlin at the get-go were kind of all on the same page of like, all right, we're taking this ball and we're running with it. Like, whatever happens. And I think, and I won't speak for, like, this will be Ken's point to kind of come in and talk and give his side of it. But I think he got a little bit like,
he was a little bit slower on the scale, even though he was the first one to pull out the L word. Then he was like, wait a minute, like.
Yeah, so the whole exclusive thing came up when we went over to their house, and
right after the L word was dropped.
And I think we were talking about being exclusive, possibly in the group text messaging. I think
is this the Tuesday after?
Tuesday. This is the Tuesday.
Just clarify.
Our date's like, oh, that Tuesday.
Yeah, this is that day. So this was a couple.
No.
Weeks? Yeah, it was a couple weeks.
It wasn't a couple weeks because you were deployed when it happened, which was a Friday. I went out with him on Friday night, and it happened on Tuesday.
Anyway, so we went over there to go hang out with them, and like the exclusive thing was thrown out there, I think on the group text. And when we got over to their house, Caitlin and I went to go to the store.
You guys went to go pick up dinner and pizza.
Mm-hmm. And Jess and I had already talked about this, and we just, like I said, Jess, we were on the same page. So as I was talking to Caitlin in the car, we talked about the, like, you know, feelings and like, oh my God, like, yes, I have feelings for you. Like, this is something different, blah, 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 blah.
We were just kind of
we talked about being exclusive,
talking about what, not we should be exclusive, but what would being exclusive look like.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you, the two of you had decided as well that you were also feeling the same way that Kenny was, right? That you were progressing towards feeling the big love for them as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
at this point, I knew that I had feelings for sure.
And I don't think either one of us, between me and Jess, had said love at that point.
No.
It was just very much like, okay, we have feelings for them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so Caitlin and I came inside from the car, and throughout the night, like, we all thought we were on the same page. As far as like, okay, possibly being exclusive, this is kind of a thing, like, and being like just running full tilt with it. You know what I mean? And then
Too fast. It was too fast.
And Ken, I think, was a little blindsided by it.
Put the brakes on.
And got a little blindsided by it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't part of the conversation, I guess. But,
right.
So that obviously made him feel a certain way, and he was upset about it. And so I left thinking like, hey, everything's great and golden. And then the next morning, as I'm leaving, and I'm also leaving Jess, we had another, like, the text messages started to fly, and like that's when we realized like Ken was hurt, and he had felt like he had been not part of the conversation, and that in his mind at the time was like, hey, this is all part of being like in the lifestyle. It's like getting out and meeting people. Like, I don't want to be exclusive,
right.
And you know, this whole feeling thing is like, it's a little quick and everything else, and like that was kind of the point where I think
we kind of like slowed our roll a bit.
Jess and I we collectively were on the fence of like, okay, well, are we continuing this? Because like it turned into where we felt like we were causing, you know, somebody else drama. Like, we didn't want that. Like, especially right. People we were having feelings for. Like, we don't want to cause people we care about feelings that they don't like.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah. So that was the Tuesday.
So he kind of threw it out there that he was moving towards falling in love, but then when it came to the practicalities of that, it wasn't. He wasn't there, kind of thing.
I can't speak for
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can't speak for him, but that's how we took it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And I guess between the two of you, when those conversations start coming up, and you go from, well, we're in this to meet people to hook up and make friends, to falling in love, did that start to bring up any jealousy between the two of you, or was it just so natural that it didn't even faze you?
For me, I'd say 90% of it felt natural, and a lot of it had to do with being on the same page as Jessica about everything. There were moments where I felt, because there's things that Ken can do for Jess that I didn't think was possible. I've been working hard for a long time to make
16 years to be exact.
Yes, to make sure that I am, and I'm not bad at what I do. Like, I thought, like, I always do a good job. So I thought, like, hey,
you do a great job, baby.
That
doesn't help.
So I thought, like, I've worked for this. I've worked for years.
Like, he knows me.
To make sure I can make her finish and, like, give her what she wants. And fucking Kenny and his black magic tongue rolled right in on the first day and made you come, like, 3 or 4 times, like, immediately. I can't do that. Yeah, that made me really jealous.
Did it?
Yes. You were over there just like, oh my God, it's my 5th orgasm. I'm like, wait, what? So there were those moments for me. And
Wait, but did you mean like jealousy, like with our other lifestyle friends, or did you mean like with Kate and Kenny?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, I think that's a good example, right? Is that's still something you have to face as somebody comes in and can unlock things that you were unable to do for however long, right? So I think that's definitely a big thing.
so there was that, but also as the feelings were progressing, after the Tuesday we had there was definitely not a falling out. I don't know what the word is, but like we definitely kind of all went to our corners and were protecting our own relationship for a little bit as we worked through things.
It like
Right.
slowed down a little bit, maybe.
Right.
Right. Well,
I wouldn't say it slowed down. I would just say that like we all took a step back and started to reassess the situation. Like maybe like we all got a little excited and jumped, and then maybe we had to like take a step back and like reassess. Yeah.
And then as things, so we ended up, things kind of panned out and everybody was back to being happy and go lucky and everything was fine. And we decided to go out to one of the swinger clubs together.
Oh yeah, that was an experience.
So Jessica is very much the she meets everybody. Like when she's at a party, like it's hard for me to keep up with her because she constantly is out there being a social butterfly. She wants to meet everybody. She's smooching.
I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah. Like,
it's probably because he doesn't let you talk any other time, it seems.
I know. No, but and especially like if I know other people there, and especially if I know other people there that I'm already friends with. So if I already know you, I've already kissed you before, and I come up to you, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? If you lay one on me, like, yep, thank you. I enjoy that.
And for me,
Shawn doesn't mind it.
That's fine. Like that's part of going there. I'm doing the same thing with, pretty ladies. That's how it works. But what we didn't realize was the feelings that. And again, this is just me speaking for him, which is not fair. But
right. I hope he tells his own side of the story.
Yeah, the feelings.
Although maybe I don't want him to tell his own side of the story.
The feelings that he was building for her, or the feelings he already had that he hadn't admitted to the rest of us, I guess maybe was that he
didn't like that.
Yeah, he was in love with her.
He didn't want to see me kissing other people or other people kissing me, or he didn't want. Maybe this is more accurate. He didn't like that we were at the club with them, and I kept going to say hi to our friends who were also there, and friends would grab me and touch me or kiss me or whatever. He didn't like that. He's like, she's here with us tonight,
And I think the feelings, though,
I could see
had
that
a lot to do with it too.
Okay, but I could still see that being frustrating.
Yeah. So that kind of kicked off a little bit of and we didn't know it at the time, but he was upset, really upset. And we ended up coming back to our house and like hanging out, but it was kind of like, it wasn't until a day or two later that we found out
next day
how upset he was about it.
Right.
And so at that point, like I was okay with the first, like for the Tuesday, I was okay with things like getting to a point where somebody was feeling hurt and behind the curve as far as like what everybody else is doing or whatever, whatever the reason was. And then after that day, I was kind of in the mode of like, all right, well, again, we didn't know what the feelings were. We were still learning what Ken and Caitlin were comfortable with. We were still learning what Ken was okay with, and like his personality and her personality and everything else. So after that night, when we found out he was upset, in my mind, I kind of went to the whole like, okay, well, that's more, drama is not the right word, but just like, okay, well, this isn't easy. Like, I want this to be easy, and this right now is not easy. So how do I feel about that?
Right.
And I started to, and again, we're still texting from morning, literally when we wake up first thing in the morning, to the point of like, we're closing our eyes at night. Mm-hmm. Thousands and thousands and thousands of texts of just talking like friends. And I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, well, maybe it's time to start, for me, like backing out of the conversation, backing out of whatever's going on, because if it's going to be hard, like, I don't know if I want to continue doing this. And at the same point, Jess and Ken are starting to really kind of build up their relationship.
Right, because that whole situation that happened at the club, like, I don't know, like after that, like I felt really bothered and hurt that I had hurt him, and it wasn't intentional on my part. It was just my personality of me being bubbly and just me being who I am. And I didn't think that, like, for me going into the club, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, as long as like I'm abiding by mine and Shawn's rules, I'm good, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I did, and I didn't mean to hurt him there that night. So I think after that night is when he and I started to really like, okay, that really hurt him. How do I feel about it? And then we kind of built on top of like the whole makeup of that.
You guys bonded to realize
that we loved each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right after that.
And so they spent I think it's about a week or so, like getting deeper and deeper into a relationship, while I was feeling more and more like I was backing out of it. And I thought for sure we got invited over to their house the next weekend, I think it was, or maybe it's 2 weeks, doesn't matter.
Timeline's crazy.
Yeah, the whole timeline's nuts. We went over there with me in the full expectation of like, all right, this is probably the last time we're gonna. And I mean, Jess and I were talking about this whole time. I'm like,
same page. Shawn thought that this would be the last time we were going to see them
because I was.
Even though Jess, you were falling more and more into a relationship with Ken.
Yes, because even though I was still there with Kenny, if Shawn wasn't there, then Shawn he has veto, you know, if he's done, if he's ready, like I'm out. So we were going there that night with me thinking in my head, like, all right, like this has to go good. And Shawn's going there thinking, what?
That was probably the last time we were going to hang out.
Probably the last time we were going to hang out. But we had to go one more time to see them in person and let Shawn kind of see how he felt.
Because when we're in person, those sparks are there.
Right. I was curious for you and Kate then, were you two also progressing or hit it? Not.
You guys were still talking.
Yeah, we were still talking, and it was more, and it wasn't anything on her end. It was all on my end, where I was starting to just like purposely almost separate myself from the situation. Yeah. You know, it was almost too much. It was almost like, this is too much work. I see the more
he saw. This is what really like bothered Shawn from the night at the club. Shawn, for one, we were led to believe that all night long, like things were fine and things were happy. And it wasn't until the next day where it was like, okay, you did this that I didn't like. And then I got really upset. And Shawn's like, I'm not in this to watch you be upset over something.
That's right.
That you didn't even know you were doing something wrong. And you were abiding by my rules. So here I'm watching you be upset when
you didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't do anything by our rules. Yeah. I didn't do anything wrong.
So it was a twofold thing. Like,
right.
You know,
yeah.
So at that point I was ready I thought we would go over there. Caitlin and I would have, you know, good conversation maybe, but like, whatever. And I walked in the door and it took about 10 seconds. Like immediately.
As soon as he laid eyeballs on her.
That was the night that I knew. I was like, I love this other woman. And from there on out, like there was no going back really. No.
From that night, yeah.
So you saw him again, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't even know how many times we've seen him since. But yes.
Well, so how did you reconcile all of the things you were struggling with on the way over? I mean, just by seeing her, I mean, those other problems still happened. So how did you reconcile those internally then to get past them?
Internally wasn't that hard. So Jess can back me up on this. And I'm sure Caitlin will say it too. I turn into a vibrating mess of a person in front of her.
He can't even make full sentences when he's in front of her.
Sometimes, yes, it's ridiculous.
He shakes. He's so nervous.
Not nervous. It's just I'm not nervous. It's just I can't. I got it bad.
He makes full sentences right now when we talk about this, apparently, because he talks about that.
Yes. So there's strong feelings there, obviously. A lot of it got washed away, and when we're together, a lot of the.
But we all talked about it too.
Well, because a lot of the issues I was having was kind of my own issues of how I was feeling about stuff. So it wasn't like anybody was doing anything particular. Right. It was more my own reservations in my own head. But we still talked about it, and a couple trips later, or maybe a trip later, I don't even know. I mean, I sat down, and this was the night that we almost said, "I love you," for the first time in person.
Washington was the first time you told her you loved her.
Right, but this was before Washington. We went over to their house, and it was just a really good night. And the one thing that's been different as far as our swinging side and our time with them is when we're just swinging, being apart was no bueno. Maybe if we trust the people, okay, you guys are in the room right around the corner where I can see you, but we play together. We don't, yeah.
And I think we talked about this with you guys in our last podcast. Mm-hmm. We same room, always play together. It's different with them, and it has been from the get-go. From the first time we ever played with them. Granted, we were in the same hotel room, but two of us would be in the bathroom, two of us would be in there in the bedroom. There's no eye contact, no seeing each other.
Separate play with them is just a natural. It's one of those things where you guys have your relationship, I have our relationship. If you guys get a chance to go, get naked, go for it, and we'll even play. It's one of those things where if we were going to get pizza, right. Be all right, Kayla and I are going to get pizza. We'll see you guys in a little bit, and then they'll go play.
We'll play while they're gone, or it's no big deal.
It's a non-issue. It's a non-thing, and so we have that little bubble of relationship. When we are hanging out, we have our 4-way relationship where we're all hanging out and being friends and just good, having good times and doing stuff. And then we also will branch off and be okay, well now Jessica and Ken have their time, and me and Caitlin have our time.
But we have never been on separate dates though.
No, but that does as far as right now though, so leading up to the whole where we almost told each other for the first time where we loved each other, and when we talked about the feelings I was having that night was that first night at their house, where we were talking about. It was kind of a very intense night as far as talking about feelings and stuff. It was also a night that you and Kenny were playing upstairs, and her and I were playing downstairs, and we were having moments where we were kind of talking about deep stuff and talking about feelings, and that's where it came out. I told her, I was hey, I almost walked away from all this, and we talked about it, and it was kind of no big deal. It was okay, well, I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm glad you're here. And that was the first night that we almost the only reason I didn't say I loved her that night, the only reason she didn't say it was because we hadn't talked to.
They didn't want to say it without talking to their other partners first.
So I didn't want to throw that out there without being on the same page with Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, that's very fair.
A little mushy for me, but it's still all right.
I know it is a little
weird,
mushy.
Dude. I know
it's weird. It's
this
so
whole thing
fucking
is weird.
Sorry,
no, I'm just giving you shit because you're I'm the one who doesn't like feelings, and then you're the one who.
I hear you,
dude. It's been legit since it's been 7 months. It has been the craziest 7 months of my life. No lie.
In a good way, I would hope.
In a good way, and it is just, and I feel we've only just branched on the beginning, how it all came to whatever. I don't know. I guess when we talk with them too, maybe we can go into what's going on now and
more coherent timeline-wise
nicknames too. And.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, and I'll probably ask this question again when it's the 4 of you. But I guess where do you see yourselves going maybe just speaking for the two of you, where do you see yourselves going in the next?
So funny. This is
6
so funny.
months? Yeah.
Wait, you have to ask the same question to them and their podcast and see how they answer, okay?
You got it.
Commune.
Yeah, we're going to commune.
Sister wives.
Sister wives.
In seriousness, though,
We don't know, but this.
Okay, so
we're moving back here, and after this,
what's been really one of the stranger things to wrap my brain around is the fact that we're making plans, like 5 and 10 year plans with them that wasn't even fathomable. Like, we back up 6 months, 7 months, ask me the same question, like if I would make these decisions, and the answer would be no. But we're looking at like, okay, how can we make this work with my retirement, my job that we're like 10 minutes down the street? Like, how can we make this work that we're right around the corner? Because it's not just the sex and the relationship and everything else. Like, it's all the minor BS that goes into a relationship that is like the stuff that we love. Like, we love hanging out and just watching a movie. We love our kids hanging out and like playing outside, dancing around, listening to music, like just
cooking,
all the
like just
normal
cooking and just baking and just normal everyday life. Like, I want to share that with them.
Yeah, just the friendship side of it is like like huge that I just want to like.
I don't only love them; I consider them really great friends, and even if. And, I'm maybe everybody in a relationship says this, but if things don't work out, I hope that we can all continue to be friends because they're really great people.
I don't think you can separate the two at this point. I mean, you'll always be friends with Kate, but I don't think you can separate the two at this point.
What do you mean?
I don't know how it would just be friends. Like, I love Ken like a brother.
Because I would jump his bones every time I saw him.
And I love Caitlin. Like,
or at least his tongue.
Dude, he has a great fucking tongue.
Side note. Didn't know it was possible.
Wait, before Shawn says that, I didn't even know I could have multiple orgasms. Didn't even know I could have multiple orgasms.
18.
Whoa.
18 and who fucking does that?
It wasn't
at that point. We were talking about jealousy, like when he did like 3 or 4 or whatever it was the first time, and then the second time it was like 5 in a night, and I'm like, I can't do that. When you hit 18, at that point you're just like, dude, black magic, cool, good on you.
Like, I had to like look it up and be like, wait, is that possible? Like, I had to leave that.
Okay, so we were talking too. Remember we were talking before where we said like, oh, playing like the night before or even 2 days before I leave on a trip, it's way too hard. We do that all the time with them. And that morning, we went over there for brunch.
Yeah, we normally don't even play the weekend of him leaving.
I was getting on a plane at like 4 in the afternoon that day. That was the whole, like, we went over there before we went to the airport.
Brunch,
and so
sex, 18 orgasms, drop Shawn off at the airport.
We're driving to the airport, and Jess is just comatose. Like not even, like, making, like, sentences, just, like, sitting there, like, staring off in the distance. I'm like, what happened? You're just I don't know. Dude,
I got, like, a serious work, like, for 3 days after that. Like, all my muscles were, like, sore. My abs were sore. My butt was sore. My legs were sore. Like, I got a serious workout from 18 orgasms.
Black magic.
Sounds like a pretty fabulous brunch.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was a great brunch. It was a great brunch.
Yep.
And I know you mentioned that you both have kids and families. Like, has there been any sort of, I guess, coming out to anybody about this relationship? Or is it right now, like, just all friends, like, just act like they're friends?
On their side, no.
On their side, we're just really good friends.
Yes.
But we know all of their family, all of her family, his mom, his dad, his older daughter, her boyfriend.
And they're all amazing. Like, it's
their kids, they're all amazing.
We love those guys.
We go over there for dinner, and his mom will bake cakes for us.
But they don't know. Nobody knows.
But nobody knows. Nobody knows. But they just think we're friends.
On my side, so a new development from last time is Jessica's mom has started living with us.
She lives with us. She's downstairs right now.
She's fully aware of everything.
Everything.
And she babysits kids for us all the time to go over there.
Oh, well, that's really convenient.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
We can come home.
She's amazing. My mother's amazing.
Yep, we can come home and tell her what we've been up to, and she's like, high five, good luck, you know.
Yep, and they're actually coming, not this weekend, but next weekend. They're coming here. They're bringing their kids, and they're spending the night. My mom will be here the whole time.
Yep, doing family day the next day.
Family day the next day, yeah.
It's going to have to be a quiet 18 orgasm.
My mom. So our basement is fully finished, and the walls are soundproof down there. So we'll just keep her down there. She's good.
Throw her some food down the laundry chute.
Yeah.
So, how did that go coming out to her about that? I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Not. I mean,
really.
She already knew. Like, even the last time we talked to you guys, we told you guys that most of my family, well, the family that I talked to, they all know. So my mom knew that we were in the lifestyle. So there was no denying. My mom was actually here watching the kids when we went to the Halloween party. So when we came back from the Halloween party and the very next day we were messaging, there was actually a couple weeks where my mom was like, are you going to like separate yourself from the phone? Like, what's going on there? And then, I mean, it was obvious from the get-go. So she's been involved in the whole thing from the very beginning. She's known everything from the get-go.
Yeah. And I've shared so my sister, she knew about the lifestyle anyway. She knows probably more about everything than most. My brother knows 80% of it. As far as the relationship side of it, and like we're fine.
You really want his mom came to visit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the nun.
And remember that story, right?
Yeah.
So Sean's like, I'm telling her about Kate and Ken, and telling her that we're in love with another couple, and I'm like, I am leaving. I'm not going to be here when you do that. Like, not even close. And my mom's here too, and then my mom knows all about it, and she's just finding out, like, bad situation. I'm like, I'm leaving.
I tried to bring it up. I tried to drop hints, and she wouldn't bite. Like, she wants to be ignorant.
You dropped hints, but we made a deal before she came. If she asked questions, we would answer them honestly. But if she didn't ask, we wouldn't tell. But we also wouldn't hide what was going on in our life. So if we were talking to them at the time or whatever was going on, we would be open and honest. So she's seen pictures. She knows. And
she talks to my brother, the one that knows everything. So I'm pretty sure that she knows.
She knows.
But so like my sister knows, my brother knows. So a guy at work, come to find out, we were talking, and he mentioned something that pinged my brain as far as him kind of hinting he was in the lifestyle. And so I got talking to him. I'm like, hey man, I don't know if you're interested in this, but I have a bunch of podcasts, and I gave him our podcast, the one with you guys. And
he listens to it anyway. Like, why can't I say his name? He'd be good for the shout out.
No, stop. No. Anyway, so I got talking to him, and then after a minute or two, I'm like, wait a minute, you're in the lifestyle, aren't you? And he's like, no, okay, yeah. So a single guy in the lifestyle, and he, like, as soon as because we worked together, but at a different location. So whenever I'd go down there, we hadn't seen each other in like a month or a couple weeks, whatever. He'd be like, hey, what's going on? And then I'd give him because he saw me when we first started talking about feelings, from the get-go, where I had to pull over to the side of the road, and in the grocery store, we were talking about getting weird. Or that time when I was at work, like from the point I started texting or got there, I'd start texting to the point I went home. And so it was like, he would see me over there, like in the other room, like when I'm usually hanging out and like talking or whatever else, just over on my phone, like obviously very involved. And he even asked me, he's like, dude, are you okay? Like, what's going on? I'm like, don't worry about it. I just got this stuff going on. And eventually I opened up to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm poly too. And I'm like, okay, first off, I'm not poly, but okay, I get to what you're saying. And so he's been the guy I've gone to at work that he knows most of everything.
He knows almost.
Yeah, so he knows. And then there was a couple that reached out to you guys after our podcast.
Right. Wait, can we give them a shout out?
There's not a shout out. It's not a radio station. But
wait, I'm cute though, right? I'm cute, right?
You guys put us
adorable.
you guys put us in contact with some other listeners that have turned out to be really good friends.
Really great friends.
We were talking to them. We were texting them like a few minutes ago.
They know that we're podcasting.
Yeah, we talk to them at least a couple times a week, and we've somehow, which really blows my mind, is when we talked to you the first time, we were still the newbies, and I still felt very new. And then we were talking to them, and after a while, they're like, "You guys are like our mentors." And we're like, "How the hell did we become the experienced ones all of a sudden?" Like,
crazy.
But yeah, they've because of just who they've been, and because they've been so open, they know
everything about this whole thing that we have going on.
And they've also been very, they've been great friends.
Good advice.
When things,
they give good advice.
If things have gotten rough, because there's been small patches where, we feel a certain way that's not great. And
you just need somebody to talk to that knows the lifestyle, knows what's going on, and they've been there for us 100%.
Yeah, they've phone calls, texts, whatever. It's been amazing. So
that's awesome.
So
we've got a plethora of people we talk to.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I got to go back to something you said in passing that any of the poly listeners will skewer me for if we don't.
Yeah.
Which is, you said you're not poly, but what you're doing sounds very similar to what somebody in a poly relationship would be doing.
I know.
Wait, are we?
The way that I would define it for me, and I've wrestled with this, and I know, because I everybody does it their own way, and like I don't want it in any way, shape, or form. For me, the way that poly feels is like that you're looking for that like you're pursuing that type of relationship. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
For me personally, a poly to me is when you have multiple separate relationships. So Shawn would have a relationship with Caitlin, and he would go out and do things with her and have a relationship with her that I'm not involved in. Right?
Well, I'm gonna play.
Wait, can you
the devil's advocate?
Educate me.
I'm just gonna tell you that you're in a poly quad because polyamory means multiple loves.
Yep.
By definition, and if you're all in love with each other, you're polyamorous, and you just got to accept it. It's not a bad thing.
I never said it was a bad thing.
Just like you didn't want to say you're exclusive, you can say it. It's okay.
He's throwing down some knowledge right now.
I know, right?
We just turned into therapists.
I'm just telling them.
Oh.
We had a breakthrough right now. All right.
I know. You're right. You're totally right. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Well, Jess was scared of the P word. For a long time.
Oh, I like the one P word, but...
No, Jesus Christ, calm down. No, for a long time, like, when I, even, when was it? Like, when I had messaged you guys, and I brought up poly, even then, when I would bring it up with Jess, she's like, I'm not poly, I can't. Like, it was scary, because we'd gone through so many years of, like, the idea of loving somebody else was a scary thing.
Right.
Like, that was a threat to our relationship. Even in swinging, that was a threat. And it was one of those threats that, like, we'd thrown out there, like, okay, if that presents itself, we're done. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like,
yes,
we didn't ease into this. Like, we fucking we fell head first into it.
Head over heels.
So it was like putting it into words of like, okay, this is a poly thing was very scary.
Yeah, but like, even, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
I guess just to put some perspective, like, just because if you're in a poly quad right now, like, just so if you're in this like poly quad right now, it doesn't mean like moving forward, say like in the future, right? Things don't stay the way they're at right now for some reason. Doesn't mean you have to identify one way or the other in the future.
Well,
right?
Yeah, you can do anything you want. It's your life.
Right.
Like, you can still like have orgies with other people. Like, that's allowed.
They don't technically have to call it poly if they don't want to.
You can call it anything you want. I'm just telling you what it is. By definition. By textbook definition.
You're right. It does mean multiple loves. You're right.
I can't argue. You're right. Yeah.
That's exactly what the definition is. You're right. Did you pull that up on your phone just right now? I'm just kidding. Joking.
Nope.
My phone's on airplane mode. I'm a professional.
We try to be professionals.
Well, so we're going to do a little follow-up with the four of you, and I think we probably have some other questions. And something tells me that this isn't the last Shawn and Jess episode, or a Jess-isode, as I call it.
No.
Wait, what? The what episode?
A Jess-isode.
A Jess-isode?
No.
No,
work on
that's
it.
a bad one.
So I'm saying this isn't the last time you'll be on the show, if I had to guess.
Oh, yay!
And I got accused of saying that to everybody, but
By another listener.
We're not special. Jesus Christ.
Everyone's special. That's the problem. So, well, I guess maybe we should say if there's anything else that you wanted to get out before we wrap up this piece of it, we can give you that time to do it, and then, yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
No idea.
I probably said too much. That's already the problem.
Do you want to do any more shout-outs, Jess?
I don't know, man.
Everybody's gonna know who I am from that moment, right?
You can shout out to episode 34 to tell people to listen to that.
Listen to episode 34.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we're honestly hanging on
Dude,
to the tail end. Like, we're along for the ride at this point.
it's been crazy.
Well, I think that's what's been super fun about this conversation is you didn't, like you said, you didn't come into this with a plan, and you were definitely just figuring out as you went. And I think that's what's fun about it.
That's life, right? Yeah.
Let's get weird.
That word doesn't even have it. That's not even my definition anymore.
Yeah.
We go, and there's so many points been like, is this weird? I'm like, I don't think so anymore.
Yeah,
So.
it's just what it is. You've normalized it. Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
Good tie-in.
job.
Nice job. I like it.
All right. Well, maybe we leave it there since I'm winning.
Yeah.
And
You're not winning. We're all equally cool.
you
But
can't tell people you're cool.
yes, you can.
You can't tell them you're breezy and negates the breezy.
No.
Sorry.
Now you're going to a different reference.
That's Friends. That's
I
a
know.
Friends episode. Anyway. Well, let's say goodbye for real. Fake goodbye. And we will pick it up with the four of you, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Good talking again.
Whoa, that was a lot.
You don't even know. You're just saying things. You haven't listened to it yet.
Yes, I have. I was there. No, it was awesome. We really enjoyed talking to Shawn and Jess, and they processed a lot while they were talking to us.
I think Shawn enjoys listening to Shawn. Just kidding, Shawn.
No, it was awesome.
No, yeah. Thank you both for your time and sharing and opening up about that. And we really do look forward to hearing the 2-year update at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe in a year.
Maybe in a year.
The other thing we wanted to quickly remind people, last week at the beginning of the episode we mentioned we launched a Patreon page. If you want to go check that out, you can get in on some monthly video live chats with us with a Q&A and a little web chat community where we're trying to build basically just a community around the show so you can interact with other listeners and potentially other guests if they join. We've already had one of our past guests join. So.
Yes, we have.
So yeah, get in on that. You can chat with people directly. It's pretty neat and it's pretty damn cheap. So thank you for everyone who signed up. We really appreciate the support.
Yes.
And we look forward to meeting everybody in there.
Yes, thank you so much. We're really excited about this, and we can't wait to have more interaction with our community.
Next week is irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant, but
it's
Wednesdays comes first. Wednesday. Ken and Kate.
Ken and Kate, you may have heard of them for the last hour. They will be on episode 70 in a couple of days. So we will see everybody there.
Yeah, see you there.